Hey everyone, welcome back for week 2 of my quarantine diet series. I'm super stoked that you guys are back, and I'm excited to tell you guys about week 2. Although, I'll be honest with you, I really wasn't all that enthused about recording this video. It was a challenging week last week, needless to say, for a few different reasons. And honestly, I really thought that I was just gonna throw it away in the garbage. Like it was just like whatever. I didn't make progress. I'm working my butt off, trying to make sure that I'm hitting my macros right, and running, which I hate running, which I'm starting to like running now because I'm getting to that point where I feel like I'm getting better at it. So I'm like more excited about going for my runs. But this last week really drove home for me. Not that I didn't know this before, because I do, but it's easier to tell people that this is how it is and what to expect than to take your own advice sometimes. And it's hard. And I'll be honest with you, these videos I feel like are going to help keep me on track so much. Like, because the last thing that I want to do is like sit down on this couch and tell you guys about how I screwed off. Which I don't really have like any sort of like outside distractions to like make me not do that. I think the only thing that really could risk ruining my progress is like if I feel like, having a glass of wine or a margarita when I can't fit it in. It's really like the biggest threat to this diet right now at the moment, because when it comes to me hitting my macros, it's fine. But when it came to waking up every morning and taking my weight, I dreaded it. And like I tell this, I complaints with the scale, like having issues with the scale, is probably one of the most common just overall complaints, grievances, gripes about dieting and making progress. And I read this really interesting post the other day about how, like, if we are going to engage in a healthy lifestyle, let's keep it really general, that we're more likely to adhere to whatever those boundaries are for reasons outside of aesthetic purposes. So, looking strong, or, looking skinny, and that correlates with the scale, because I think we take that number to heart and we feel like it represents, us, it represents our progress. And especially when you're dieting, that's like the first thing that like, slaps you in the face is like, oh my God, I worked so hard this week and the scale doesn't show it. And that's how I felt last week. So I weigh myself every single day and I average out my weight at the end of every week. And I do this because over the years, I've kind of trained myself to try not to let the scale freak me out too much, because I try to look at it as just a metric. I try to really separate my actual like person, like my mental, from it, and use it as a metric in a basket of different metrics that we can use to assess progress. One of those being, progress pictures. I take pictures of myself on the same day at the same time, each week. And you can see visual changes that way. Another big one is, how are your clothes fitting? I know that's not really a quantifiable metric, but it is very telling. Also, people telling you, hey, I noticed are you losing weight, or are you dieting? I had somebody tell me that my face looked thinner. And so that's a good sign, and I'm sitting here like, hey, well, I didn't really change that much, because here I am worried about the scale. So what I do with my scale weights is I weigh myself every single morning, first thing when I wake up. I take my progress pictures, once a week, first thing when I wake up. My weights, I average them out at the end of the week. So if my check-in day is Sunday, I record my weight from, Monday through Sunday and average them out. And that gives me the overall picture of how the week went. And then what you can do is that you can record those numbers, those weekly averages, and then you can kind of use them retrospectively to kind of see where you're going. So, if week 1 I was 148.4, week 2 I was 146.9. So that's roughly a pound and a half different. And I was really surprised by my average, because my low for week 1 was 144.8, and all of a sudden, like, I felt like almost every single day last week I was like 147, 148, and I'm like, oh my God, like, my progress stalled, what the heck? But see, this is why we do this, because had I, and even on my check-in day, my weight was 147. So had I just weighed myself, once a week, it really wouldn't allow me to also take into consideration how much our weight does fluctuate from day to day, especially as a female. And I'm sure most females are very familiar with, weight fluctuating during their cycle. And for last week, that was it for me. I tend to gain a few pounds, or I tend to get a little watery and retain water during the week that I ovulate. And so that was last week for me. And, I also knew that. I knew that going into the week, and I knew that that was likely the reason why I was seeing the results that I was seeing, is because of that reason. But it's still kind of hard to, like, wrap your mind around it, right? Because we just, like, when we're doing these things and we work so hard to, like, make sure that we're doing what we need to do to make progress, and we don't really see something cooperating, it can be disgruntling. And I've seen these kinds of things really deter people or cause people to fall off, and just throw the whole process away and just give up. And realistically, it's just a number. And that's the thing, is that, like, and I think I said this last week, like, I don't really care how much, like, I weigh at the end of all of this. I know I'm done when the clothes that I want to wear, my jeans, some of my really cute outfits that I have, I'm done, or I know I've reached my goal when those fit well again. And I can guesstimate how much that is. I think that, I had mentioned I want to lose 10 to 15 pounds roughly. But I also know that this past summer I worked my butt off, and I can see it. I know I put muscle on, and I'm excited for that. So I'm not really sure. And looking over my whole, like, the whole picture, right? Like, from when I first started in comparison to, now, which is 7 years. My body composition has changed dramatically during those years, right? From dieting for preps, and then, not dieting and reverse dieting and building muscle and going to the gym. Every time you diet back down, you see new changes, because you put in the hard work in the off season, if you will, or just over time. And that's why, like, that post that I saw the other day about how, like, if we do this for aesthetic purposes, that it's not going to be enough to keep you motivated to continue this for years to come. And that's the God honest truth, in my opinion. Because the reason why I really started taking care of myself is because I got sick, and I thought I was, like, gonna die. Like, and I'm not even being dramatic. I remember, like, leaving work, and I remember feeling so terrible, sitting in my car, sitting in traffic on I-84 coming home from Danbury, and I would be in tears because I didn't know what was wrong with me, and no one knew what was wrong with me. And so really, that was the reason why I changed everything. And when you look at it, it's not really, I think sometimes people think that, like, nutrition or eating well is like a elite thing almost, or like an impossible thing, or just a thing, like an unthinkable almost, when realistically, like, I don't even know, like, what I would eat. I don't know. I think that might sound really strange, but I really don't know what I would eat if I didn't eat the food that I eat now. I'm not really, like, a processed foods person or a prepackaged food. Obviously, I know, like, oatmeal is processed technically, but what I mean when I say processed is, like, ultra processed, like, prepackaged foods, like TV dinners. Not my thing, never has been my thing. I've always grown up. I was very fortunate enough to be able to sit down at a dinner table. My mother would, have a meal for us every night, so I'm used to eating real food. So I guess realistically, I'm just kind of back on track, after years and years of working in the mall and eating food court, mall food, for breakfast, lunch, and or dinner, depending on when I was working. I don't know if you can see Holly's butt in the camera. She's sleeping right here. She's a cutie. Yeah, so overall, looking back at it, I didn't do half bad. I'm really excited to see the 1.5 pound difference between the 2 weeks. And I'm also feeling better. I feel like my clothes are starting to fit a little bit differently. I feel like, not that I'm really wearing real clothes at this point, I've just, I changed gym attire. And sometimes I just change out of sweatpants so that I'm not wearing the same thing that I went to bed in. Yeah, I really have tried to refabricate a new routine. So I make sure that when I wake up, I've had my coffee, whatever, I'm ready to start my day. Instead of just sitting at my computer, I get up, I take my glasses off, I put my contact lenses in, I brush my teeth, wash my face, do all of that. Take a shower if I hadn't taken one the night before, and I take her for a walk, and that's how I start my day. So I try not to stay in the same clothes. Yeah, no, I don't stay in the same clothes. I can't even think the last time I did that. I think in the beginning I definitely did that. I think we all kind of did that, right? Oh, man. But yeah, but anyway, so I still decided that I was going to make an adjustment. So one of my biggest concerns is, and also something that I maybe you guys are experiencing this too, one of the concerns from my clients is just how their routine, their disrupted routine has really affected their overall nutrition, body composition, so on and so forth. I mean, you guys all know how challenging it is to find, dumbbells on the internet right now. I mean, it's insane. So, different people have different access to different equipment, not training for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. I mean, it's been a month and a half, 2 months this week, I think, since at least I've not been able to go to my gym. You feel not great. I know what that feels like, not training. You kind of feel like a rubber noodle. You feel like and also you really don't realize the importance of your routine, not only for your mental, but on your body composition too, your energy balance. You don't realize okay, you wake up and you get up and you brush your teeth, you take a shower, you get ready, maybe you take care of your kids, maybe you cook breakfast for your family. I don't know, we all have different routines, right? And then you grab your stuff and then you go to the car and you drive yourself to work, and then you have to walk in the building, and then you have to walk to your desk, whatever you do, and then sometimes you get up because you have to go to somebody's office or you have to go to the bathroom or whatever, and you're up, down, up, down, up, down, you gotta go to the kitchen, and then at the end of the day, you leave, get in the car, maybe go to the gym, do your gym thing, or maybe you gotta go grocery shopping, or maybe you gotta run errands, right? This is all movement. So, for people that are not working or are, now working from home, sitting at their computer desk, they have a much shorter distance to travel. They have to go from their bedroom to their computer. We lost a considerable amount of activity. And for someone like myself, too, working 4 nights a week, it's winter time, or it was winter time. It's our busiest season. And, I mean, I don't track my steps. I did last year when I was on prep. And it was before I was bartending, but I was still super busy, running around everywhere when I was hosting. And I had my little step counter on my wrist, and there would be some days, I would go to the gym, and then I would go to work at night, and I would have, anywhere between 15,000 and 30,000 steps in a day. Insane. And now that I'm not just hosting, and I'm, man, there were some nights where I would be dripping sweat, glasses crooked, you don't stop. I don't even know if I could estimate how many steps. I don't. But, that's a considerable amount of activity that I'm not doing and haven't done for the past 2 months. So, taking all of that into consideration, I've decided to make an adjustment for myself. So I did make a small roughly 10% adjustment downward from my previous macros and calories. So for the first 2 weeks, I followed 65 grams of fat, 200 grams of carbs, and 125 grams of protein. Well, roughly like 125 to 135. It does range for me a bit, depending on if I have a protein shake or not. So I made an adjustment down. I'm now 60 grams of fat, 175 grams of carbs, and 125 grams of protein. So a little bit of an adjustment. I've also decided to commit another day to cardio. So instead of running a mile 3 days a week, I'm now going to be doing it 4 days a week. Although this week, I've already run twice. And then I decided that I was going to learn the blinding lights dance by the weekend. I don't know if it has a special dance. The TikTok dance, which I don't have TikTok, so don't judge me. I refuse. I'm not going to download TikTok. Because they end up getting posted to Instagram and Facebook anyway, the good ones at least. And it's just another app that's going to suck the soul out of your life. So I just choose not to. But I wanted to learn the dance because I like that song. And it was fun. So I learned that. I practiced it for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And I was like, yeah, this is like it was a good workout. I was like sweating a little bit. I love dance. I used to dance in middle school. So, it's kind of nice that you have like, can learn things like that now online. So I did that. This like whole like quarantine situation has really encouraged me to become adventurous when it comes to learning new skills. And one of the biggest ones, I know that sounds so funny, is cooking. So like I eat like a bodybuilder. I've always said this. Literally, what are my macros? What do I need to hit? What do I have in the fridge? And what can I make to throw in this Tupperware so that I can get me to work that's going to help me hit my macros for the day? Didn't care about recipes, didn't care if like things paired well with each other, didn't care. Just throw in a Tupper, hits my macros, great. And I'm sure my coworkers can probably attest to this, because sometimes I would come in with things that look questionable, although things can't really look that great in Tupperware anyway, it happens. But I've really enjoyed taking a step back and really enjoying the foods that I'm making, and learning how to actually do things the right way. And I've made a few really awesome recipes, and I really want to make an ebook, a recipe ebook. And so I have 2 recipes so far that I've perfected that I'd like to incorporate into it. I'm not going to tell you guys what they are yet, but I want to come up with at least, it's not going to be huge, it's going to be small. Maybe like 10 recipes, or I might even do something like 5 breakfasts, like 5 lunch ideas, 5 dinner ideas, maybe some desserts, which I'm not a big dessert person, so I don't even know if I'm going to do that. But I'm not really sure what direction or focus I'm going to go with it yet. But I really want to do this, and so I'm going to perfect the recipes, and then I have a friend who's going to help me take some shots for it. And yeah, that's like a new goal of mine. I made a new goal. I want to have an ebook by the end of the year. I think that considering school and all that, I think that's a decent amount of time to accomplish something like this. So yeah, cooking, it's been great. Made a lot of really good things. I even made a really awesome steak last night, and I impressed myself, I won't lie. I don't have a grill. So I had to make it on my stove, which is an electric stove, which, whatever, it is what it is. But yeah, I was, pretty proud of myself. Did a pretty good job. It was good. I would serve it to somebody. It's that good. Anyway, so did that. Let's see, I hung my new curtain rods. So I had to use a drill, and I'm definitely not one to do that. I won't even hang a picture on the wall unless there was a pre-existing hook on it, because, if it's me, then you're going to have, like, a bunch of other different holes in addition to the hole that's supposed to be there. And I think it just has to do with the fact that I don't have patience for things like this, but I'm not sure. I'm sure that if I come to a situation where I need to actually hang up something for myself, I will be patient enough to do it, not screw it up. But yeah, so I hung new curtain rods. That was exciting. I learned the dance. I started growing plants. So I have a basil plant, which is amazing. Here, I'll show you guys actually. I have it in this like weird pot thing right now. Ow! I have this thing in a weird pot because I really wanted to put this in here, but I don't think it's deep enough, but I do want to put something in here. But this is my basil. It's been growing for a couple of months now. and it smells so good, and I'm so excited. Like, I'm almost ready to, I don't know if I should harvest it. I'm nervous. I don't want to do it yet. It's still really growing a lot. I also have mint, which is really exciting. And I have 2 planters out front on my front steps with like these pansy looking super bell things. I think they're called super bells. They're super pretty. I have yellow and purple. They're super cute. And then, I don't know if you guys can see this either. I don't know if it's going to screw up my focus. But, so, this, I did not count today. Oh, God. So, I planted this pot with 3 basil seeds. I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I now have 30 sprouts in this little jar. And I don't know how I'm going to get them out. Oh, there's 31. I think I have to break it and then put it in a big pot because this is a lot of basil. And I really would love to keep these and not see them die. I don't know. We'll see if I can do it. I'm not sure. So yeah, now I'm a gardener. What else have I done? I took pictures of food that I was eating the other day, and I thought I was going to use it for a post, and I'm still not sure if I'm going to, but I had my ring light set up over my island, and I stood on top of my island with my actual camera, trying to get the best shot of it. So doing a little photography, doing this. I started building my YouTube channel. Yeah, I started doing a lot of things. Oh, I started working with, his name is Q, or Quavon. He's with Q Fit in Connecticut, and he's like a strength and mobility specialist. And we have been working together, like once every other week. We do a video session, which has been amazing, and just like a completely different way of training, really opening up the joints and trying to increase my range of motion, which I've definitely noticed has decreased over the past year. Also got a few new aches and pains ever since I turned 30. And since last fall, I had like this chronic back pain that like really, I thought honestly, like at first I thought it was a negative side effect. So I'm going to get kind of personal here, whatever. In September, I had the Paragard. It's the copper IUD. I got one of those, and I did it. It honestly was like something that I'd been thinking about for a couple of years. Maybe not a couple of years, maybe like a year and a half. And because I don't want to take hormonal birth control, but I still wanted to obviously be safe. So I decided that the copper IUD was the best choice for me. And I got it inserted in September. And right around the same time, I also started experiencing like chronic back pain. That would be really challenging for me. Like if I needed to like bend over to like even like wipe a surface if I'm cleaning, like that's like literally within seconds I would feel it just like really tighten up and hurt. And I got nervous because I thought maybe it was like a negative side effect of the IUD. But ever since I started, working with Q and focusing on my stretching, because I'm also trying to work on my splits, the only time that it starts hurting me is when I neglect actually, stretching and working on some of the moves that Q and I have worked on together. So yeah, I've been doing that. It's just been really like the past couple of months have been just new, like just doing new stuff, really. I know that this whole thing has been really challenging for a lot of people, but like there's definitely the silver lining. And if you can find it, then I think that maybe mentally you can really kind of redirect yourself through all of this. That's really what's been keeping me going. I'm concerned about everything that's kind of going on around me, but I can control what Stephanie can control. I can control what I do. So, yeah, that's kind of just like, what I'm doing. I'm almost like might be sad when I have to go back to work. I won't lie. My biggest concern is not being able to like focus as much time on, you know, creating content and talking to you guys and making, you know, educational posts on Instagram and Facebook, because I've really enjoyed actually having the time to do it, and I'm hoping that I can maintain that. But yeah, guys, I think that pretty much wraps it up for this week. You know, stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy, do what makes you happy, learn new things. It doesn't matter how big or small they are. It doesn't have to be anything complicated. You know, never be embarrassed to learn something simple and talk about it or whatever. You know, like I said, you know, cooking. You know, for someone like myself, I should be like, you know, the best cook ever. And I'm not saying that I make bad stuff, but, you know, I don't know. I just wasn't really like formally cooking. You know, it's silly. I'm 30 years old. You know, it's about time that I stopped throwing shit in a pan and putting it in a Tupperware. Oh, goodness. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you have a moment and you haven't already done so, please do me a favor. I would love you a long time. Give this video a like, maybe subscribe to my channel, and help me help you, because the more subscribers that I get, the more likes that I get, the more feedback, comments, whatever that I get, the better direction I know I can go with this channel and these videos that I'm making, and do my best to create stuff that you guys want to see. All right, well, make sure that you guys tune back in for week 3 next week, and I hope that everyone has an awesome week and weekend. Take care, guys.